Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? I had a mic check this morning, but like I said yesterday morning, that was a few seconds ago. Just making sure you can hear me. A good yes or no will suffice. I cannot believe what is going on with Ronnie Lawson. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way, though, shall we? So I was in here this morning chatting with you guys. Seems that we're all cold. But then our friend Al Roker said this weekend it's going to be above average temps, at least for where I'm at. We're going to be back in the lower 90s in some places. Talk about hot and cold. Literally. It's 30 degrees. I've got on these socks that my husband got me in South Dakota. They're so big you couldn't fit them into LeBron James's shoe. I mean, they're huge. It's almost embarrassing that I have these on and I'm walking around in them. But something's got to give. 30 degrees in Oklahoma, mid-October, ridiculous. Okay. Do we have our Florida people in here reminding me that it's warm there? Prissy said wind chill 27. Michelle might get pneumonia. We don't want Michelle to get pneumonia. Mother Nature is confused. Mother Nature is confused, much like the true crime community. In the true crime world, when it rains, it pours. In the last 2 weeks, we have had what I call a true crime typhoon. It has been one thing after another. It's insane. I'm going to jump on here drunk at 4 a.m. one day. It is that insane. Hello, Annette. Slimhauser needs $10,000 to get a banner to fly over Hawkins County. I don't have $10,000. If I did, it would go to you. It would go to you, my friend. It's absolutely insane. So I posted this nugget of information on the community tab. Several of you thanked me for my investigative work. No need to thank me ever if you really want to know the truth. Our friend Trevor told me about this. I'm blown away. Blown away. I'm mad. Frankly, I'm mad. Lawson, it goes without saying. Detective Pruitt, quite upset with him. The DA, I think he's part of the gears that grind in Hawkins County. Mad about that. The mayor has a little bit of a say in what goes on in the county, personally. I'm mad at WJHL. I am. They threw out a developing story, 38 seconds long, blasted East Tennessee with this. It's their job. It's their job to do the deep digging, deep dives, investigative journalism. Now, I'm not going to be too harsh on WJHL, sorry. Lawson, obviously know what's going on. Pruitt, come on. The DA, on the fence about TBI. They damn sure know how to investigate. Lawson was just reelected, I think in May of 2022. Trevor will have to tell us. I don't have it right in front of me. That should have been brought up in his reelection. That should have been brought up. I don't live in Hawkins County. I don't live in East Tennessee. I don't really have a dog in that hunt. You know what I mean? I've been thinking to myself, what would I do if that was my local sheriff? Obviously, I want to live peacefully in my community. So I'd be like, yeah, do I want to rattle this cage too much or not? I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would certainly want a special election so that I have all the facts to re-vote for who my sheriff is. I would definitely say, can we have that election again? Because there was a couple things that you didn't tell me about when we reelected Ronnie back in May. I didn't know. I mean, I was pretty pissed off that it seems like nothing's going on with the Summer Wells case, but now I know why. Now I know why. One of the reasons why, it's not the only reason why. I know it's not. I'm not going to hang all of this on what Ronnie's had going on, but he's been preoccupied. I think we can all agree that Ronnie has been preoccupied. Wolfcat said Ronnie had no opponent. No opponent? How the hell did I miss that memo? Hang on. All right, my cat had to come in. All right. No opponent. Well, I would hope that now somebody would step up to the podium and say, I know a little bit about law enforcing, you know? I guess it'd be kind of hard that he's got that type of pull to run against him. Say you work under him. It'd be kind of hard to challenge him. I think right now it'd be pretty damn easy. Wow. One thing after another is coming out, that's for sure. I see that TBI tweeted this the other day. This was on September 30th. Oh, by the way, I have Ilyanka's comment up. Looks like Ronnie and Donnie, rhymes too, Ronnie and Donnie, have something in common. Each have a son arrested for SA. You bet. Dolly said recall. That's our right. That's our right as voting American citizens. If there were certain things not told to us during the election, I don't know. I'm not suggesting anyone make their life uncomfortable in Hawkins County. It's definitely a conversation. Leslie on September 28th, I believe. That could say 26th. TBI, we know. Good old Leslie. Our sex offender registry unit, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, by the way, by YouTube. It's getting ridiculous anymore. Our SO registry was recently in Hawkins County for an SOR compliance check operation. Over a 2-day period, they partnered with the Hawkins County SO and U.S. Marshals headquarters in the Eastern District to conduct compliance checks on nearly 50 registered SOs. Odd. Now, he was not on the registry. I'm not saying that. Weird timing to me. Hang on, I see you said nothing in the Rogersville Review about Brandon. No. Odd to me that Jeff Bobo did not know that this was going on either. Not blaming Jeff Bobo. I think he's a super cool dude. He got a lot out of Dawn when Summer first went missing. This got by a lot of people. This channel in particular, and there's others, I believe we have been more than fair regarding how the case of Summer Wells has been handled. I've said many, many times, I don't have the case file. I don't know what's going on. The last 6 months, I'd say, we've really been saying, look, it's time to hand it over, get a task force, do something. Do something. We need more than something. Now I go back to my confusion the last 16 months. Yes, it's been 16 months. We did a show Saturday morning regarding 16 months since Summer's disappearance. 16 months, I go back to what I've been puzzled about for 16 months, and that would be the lie detector tests. Don boasted to everyone that both him and Candace passed lie detector tests. Now, I got laughed off my own panel, and that's okay. Wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last. When I said, lie detector tests? What are you talking about? What, did Lawson purchase one at eBay? How would he know how to run the machine, administer it, read it? I mean, they pay deputies next to nothing. Who in that department is trained in giving a lie detector test? Lawson could have balanced a paperclip off of their noses, and these idiots would not have known the difference. I referenced the case of Evelyn Boswell, Megan Boswell, standing outside of Sullivan County, also in East Tennessee. Megan is standing outside. She's got her bright yellow sweater on, saying, I'm here to take a lie detector test, but they won't let me because I'm pregnant. Here comes the sheriff of Sullivan County. Couldn't get away from the media. He was so mad. He said, we don't even have a machine here or anyone to read it. We don't have a machine here. We don't have anyone to read it. What is she talking about? That's equipment they would have to bring in, and someone who's trained in that from FBI or TBI. We don't keep that stuff laying around here in Sullivan County, but we're supposed to believe they do in Hawkins County. They're begging people to come work there for next to nothing, but they've got trained people to read lie detector tests. I just don't believe they took one. TBI won't even confirm if they did or didn't. But this supposedly went down the night that Summer disappeared. Don took his, and we know he took his, aced it. Never heard anything about Grandis, who was on the property the afternoon of June 15th. Never heard that she got hooked up to one. And mind you, I don't care about polygraphs either way. You guys know how I am about it. I don't care. There's people who have epically failed them and are innocent, and vice versa. So then we hear because Candace has got a bad hip and all kinds of shit going on, she couldn't take hers. So she had to go back on Thursday and take it again, and just passed it. She did great. I don't think so. I just don't, especially with this going on. I just don't. I think it speaks volumes that when this hit the 30-second clip, I think it was 38 seconds. I'm going to be generous. Here. Almost 40 seconds. 40 seconds that WJHL decided to spend on this case, and they put on their news on Monday. Found it odd that with everything going on, Hawkins County removed their Facebook page. I think if I was told correctly, I don't think they have a website now either. Lawson's son also was in a fatality boating accident 10 years ago. I don't know if he was under the influence. I don't know. But a grand jury did meet, and there was no charges on him. I don't know. I know this is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels, and I feel very, very bad for the people in Hawkins County. I do. We spoke a couple of months ago about the issue with the mayor. We've got a DA that he's probably not going to pursue a circumstantial case. I'm sorry to say it. He's just probably not going to. He's also not going to probably call in a special prosecutor from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation because, as you know, they don't really want anybody around with the stuff they do. We've been talking since August 6th, 7th, 8th, when we started talking about Kylie Rodney and really gave that town a ripping about the Truckee way. Seems like Lawson has his own way of doing things as well. On Twitter, really the only thing that Leslie has addressed, this was on the 15th, a woman reached out and said, any new news on the Summer Wells case? I haven't seen anything on the news in a long time. Leslie tweeted back 2 days later on the 17th, not that Leslie needs to be all over that Twitter. We know she's got other stuff to do, but anyway, she responded 2 days later. While we have no new updates to provide, agents continue to investigate the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance. Anyone with credible information is asked to call 800 TBI fine. That is a copy-paste answer that Leslie has had since June of 2021. I agree with Mom DeFore. This makes Pruitt's shitty attitude make that much more sense. I actually gave a lot of credit to Ronnie Lawson. I said, he's really the only one that seems perturbed about this situation. He's really the only one giving any information. He's the one that said Don, Candace, and Grandis aren't cooperating. Which I do believe. I do believe because Grandis told us herself. Grandis said, I called him back in December about some YouTubers. She made that statement in March, so she's not cooperating. So, I mean, I believe him on that one. And no, I'm not cherry picking the facts. That's what Grandis said. I mean, can we say that the trust is broken? The trust is broken. What's it going to take? Because I don't know how that works. For with this bombshell, for TBI to say, you are no longer involved in the case regarding the disappearance of Summer Wells. Because there is an active Amber Alert issued by the state of Tennessee. Now, everything else you have going on, your, drugs and DUIs and stuff like that, we're really not going to get involved with that. But we have an active Amber Alert for Summer Wells. We're going to take that from you, Ron. We're going to take that from you, Ron. I don't know what that takes. Let's see if our friend Trevor knows. Hang on. Hey, Trevor, what's up, my friend?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty confused and irritated, much like everybody else. Thanks for sending all this to me. And then all of a sudden I saw YouTube just erupt. I need time to digest this, if you know what I mean. So what's the word on the street? You are local. Don't give out your address or anything. What's going on?
Well, it's definitely disheartening to see how many people just blindly defend him. I mean, we've got local media, as you were talking about, newspaper, citizens. I mean, the whole judicial system in that county all have his back, and that's why none of this was brought to light until it had to be.
Well, Dawn is going to be getting out in a couple weeks. Just so everyone is on the same page, I'm going to show the 38-second clip from WJHL and their developing story, which is not developing because it's been going on since 2018. That's 4 years of developments. They whittled down to 38 seconds. So anyway, 20 years is what Lawson's son, Brandon, was sentenced to, but he will only serve a year, which is basically the same as Dawn, who is sitting in Hawkins County for a violation of probation. He is not there for anything related to the disappearance of Summer Wells. I'm not sympathizing with Dawn, just doing a comparison. Old Don's going to be out in a couple of weeks. He's going to reunite probably with Candace. Go look at Amityville. From what I understand that the property isn't in pristine condition when he rolls in onto the house. He's got some catching up to do with the whiskey if he decides to go back to that. You never know about Don. We might get the patron saint, reformed, redeemed, walking the walk, talking the talk Don for a few weeks, or we might get pissed off Don. We don't know what's going to happen. Somebody will tell him about all the chaos Jody Sue has caused. I figured he would want to address that, but they're going to let him know also that Ronnie Lawson's son, there's been kind of a cover-up for 4 years. We're going to be forced to agree with Don because everything he's going to say in regards to how wrong it is, he's going to be correct. It's insane. Don't you think, Trevor?
100%. It'll be quick, too. I think that Don will not only talk about it, but run to blame Lawson's son. I think he'll tie him into it because he's tied basically everybody else in this world into it. He'll have a perfect chance right there.
Yeah. He has. He's blamed Allie. He's blamed Hunter. Candace got real creative and she told Chris McDonough she thought the tree trimmers were involved. He's blamed everybody. He didn't know anything about Ronnie Lawson's son being disgusting. Now, I don't want to get too descriptive because I don't want to upset people further. We got some comments to go through too and some clips. This is, how old is Brandon Lawson, Ronnie's son? The fruit of his loins. How old is he?
30s, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And the victims, I'm understanding they're underage?
Yes, and under the code that he was charged, Tennessee Code 3913-504, which is the charge that he has listed, juveniles are listed as 13 or under, so.
Say that again. You cut out a little bit. I'm sorry.
So he's charged under Code 3913-504 in Tennessee, and under that charge, juveniles are listed as 13 or under. So if they've listed it as a juvenile charge, it's not only under 18, it's 13 or under.
Good God. Then we have the common question going around, and it can't just be dismissed. We certainly don't do that here. We agree to disagree, and we look at everyone's theory. What the hell if he really did take Summer? Talking about Ronnie's son.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the preoccupation, the cover-up, and the fact that this is a case outside the norm. Isn't that what Leslie said? This is a case outside the norm. We know. Yeah. I get it now. Where was Brandon Lawson the afternoon of June 15th, 2021? We don't know. I still think Candace is a negligent mother. I'm not going to paint Candace as a victim in this. I know some people are going to come to me going, are you ready to apologize to Candace yet? You've been yelling about her for a year and a half. Are you going to apologize? No, I'm not going to apologize to Candace. Candace lied. Candace called 911, or Dawn did, one or the other or both. We know Dawn did for sure. Said she went on a walk and 10 minutes later, Summer was gone. We know it doesn't happen that way, and we know that didn't happen. We know then she said that she was planting cactus and washing her hands, and the boys were sitting at the dining room table, and for some reason her maternal instinct set in and she decided to find out where Summer was, and she went down into the basement and looked under a mattress that was on a concrete floor and a couple of blankets and decided she'd been abducted. We know that didn't happen. Where was Brandon Lawson? June 15th, 2021. Doesn't clear Candace. Doesn't clear Dawn. Funny in all of this, really the only people that Dawn hasn't really had an issue with is Ronnie Lawson. Unless I missed something. What you think, Trevor? Is this just nepotism covering for your son? Because I'm looking at some other sentences in Hawkins County. I mean, some drugs, repeat DUIs. They serve way more than a year.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that his dad had a large role in this, and I think that in a small town, in a small community like that, his dad has a lot of pull. So even if he didn't directly get to make these decisions, he knew who to talk to about these decisions.
Well, and he had to have talked to the DA. Pruitt, as of March of 2022, unless there's been a change, is the lead. He's the investigator in Hawkins County. Is he still?
Yes.
Yeah, there's not going to be any apologies to Candace. Candace knows what's up. So Pruitt's the investigator. So for 4 years, was he there in 2018? Or did he just happen to come in the door right before Summer went missing?
I think he's been there for a while, working with Ronnie.
So from 2018 to 2022, he's been combing through all this evidence about Dirty Brandon, and somehow a deal is cut that he is going to get 20 years. So if what I'm reading is correct, there's 4 victims. That's 5 per under age 13 victim. But he's going to sit there a year in his dad's jail. Is he going to be in Hawkins County or this Granger jail?
It's been said both. They said a hold for Hawkins County. I think he was put in Hawkins County and then moved to Granger for his sentence. But Granger is like a county over, so we know that the sheriffs all know each other, and Ronnie's going to make sure he's taking care of whether he's in his jail or the jail next over ran by the sheriff there.
Misty Dawn said Johnson City probation started on 18th of this month, so yesterday, but pending. Do you know about this, Trevor?
No.
How can his probation have already started? Now, I understand when he gets out after a year, he's got to register. Big deal. Big deal. That doesn't seem to stop anybody.
No.
Wow. I see you said Granger. Okay, good, because you know when things hit, we get a lot of conflicting information. Thank you, everyone. So let's just take a poll, but I'm not going to put Trevor on the spot because, well, he does have a dog in this hunt because he lives there. Do you all think that Ronnie should step down? I think we're all going to say yes, so I'm not going to waste your time typing on that one. Or do you think there should be an election recall? This is something the Attorney General of Tennessee would be very interested in if WJHL had more than 38 seconds to spend on it, don't you think? The media has a lot of power, even local, a lot of power. Do you think he'll resign? Because he's crazy if he thinks taking down the Facebook is going to make the people that he is supposed to police in Hawkins County forget about this. This is one of those things. Now, if the son was stealing from people, drugs, or something like that, people really would be more forgiving. Might irritate the hell out of them, but they would be more forgiving. This is a different story. This is a different story. I don't think he'll resign.
No.
Well, I'm going to go through some comments from the last show, and then we're going to look at this mind-blowing 38-second news clip. You down, Trevor?
Mm-hmm. I will say one thing. I know you were talking about the Rogersville Review and Jeff Bobo over there. I had actually submitted a letter to the editor about this as soon as it released Monday, and even over there, they're refusing to write about it. They told me they're not going to run my letter because of this case.
What? The Rogersville Review refuses to talk about the sheriff's son being charged with 4 counts of bleep, bleep, bleep for under the age of 13 that he will serve 1 year for? We got a problem. We got a problem. You may have to repeat that because I'm about to pass out. My blood sugar is in my ears.
Yep, they emailed me and said that it's inaccurate because the sheriff's office has no part in that case, and that they refused to run the letter because of it.
So they are saying that the sheriff's department in Hawkins County has nothing to do with what Brandon Lawson, the son of the sheriff of Hawkins County, they have nothing to do with it?
That's what the paper told me.
Well, what on what planet does that make sense?
Not the one I live on.
All right, here we go. Okay, this isn't so much a comment, it's a question that I have, and that was presented in the comments after the show on Saturday for the 16 months of the disappearance of Summer Wells. Robin Smith, if you're listening, by the way, if I showcase your after show comment, send me an email. You will figure out why. Lauren knows why. Lauren's in here. She can tell you. She said, it was on the news update that law enforcement said Summer was seen earlier in the day. That stood out to me. It's as though this rang alarm bells to law enforcement. They weren't buying the Wells timeline. It goes without saying no one's buying the timeline, but who saw her? Is she talking about at Sonic, at the hippie house? I mean, Hunter saw her, but I need more clarification on that. And I went through a bunch of stuff, but I can't find where it says law enforcement said that Summer was seen earlier in the day. Supposedly Allie saw her, then Allie didn't. We know Hunter saw her. We know Grandis saw her. Lone Wolf, I will check that in a minute. So it's really hard for me to stop a show and go look at emails and Discord messages and stuff like that, but I will check that in just a second. So did anyone remember this on the news that law enforcement said that Summer was seen that day? I mean, I believe she was. I would just like to find that clip so I could find the context and who said it. All right, Stephanie Weber. We have said this many, many, many times, and it bears repeating. They should be charged for neglect and get the maximum time for it. So sick of parents hurting their kids and just get away with it. Charge them with everything possible. We have said this. This is not an uncommon comment. We have said it over and over and over. In the light of what is going on, which is a 1-year sit in the jail for something for 4 victims. 4. For 4. That's unheard of. Yet we have Candace. It took her, according to Lawson, he said, ask her why it took her so long to call us. Ask her why it took 4 hours to call us, or however that was phrased. It's very important. I'm sorry if I messed it up. So you know right there, you have her dead to nuts for neglect. What's going on? Plant Diva said, I was in top chat, live chat, people. Well, you're in top chat now too. JPL says, the property up on 110 sounds like a fire trap. I've always wondered about that myself. With all the shit they have going on and junk everywhere, how have they not ever had a catastrophe like that. Anyway, she said, I'm sure Candace will have signs and balloons saying, welcome home, Donnie. I said it's going to be a hot night the day he gets home. R&R, cigarettes, and a little YouTube. That's what I see Donnie doing the first night out of the pokey. Who is funding Candace? I'm guessing Tim. The tin can on wheels is gone, so what's happened to Granny? All right, we have a lot of stuff going on in this comment. We don't know what mood Don's going to get out with. Have a pretty good feeling him and Candace are going to reconnect right off the dot because it is rumored. People have supposedly seen, I don't know because I'm not there, Candace is back on the hill. She's getting ready for her knight in shining armor to come out. Don't know where Grandis is, but she's a suspect in the disappearance of her granddaughter. Not that she has her, but everyone's a suspect, according to Ronnie. According to Ronnie Lawson. Now, with this new news about Ronnie's son, they are going to be wired for sound. What do you think, Trevor?
Mm-hmm. I just don't even know what to think with this, you know.
Gaelic Girl said, Brooks, his attorney was allowed a statement. Brandon has now found his religious beliefs and he didn't enter a guilty plea, but agreed a jury would find him guilty on prosecution's evidence. I hate when they use the Bible. I hate it.
Yeah, he took an alpha plea, or however I may be saying that wrong, but whatever the plea is, that isn't presuming you're guilty, but saying that they know that you'll be found guilty by evidence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is even crazier because he didn't even plead guilty and still got, 19 years of his 20 years knocked off.
Goodness. I'll be very surprised if he serves the whole year. I really will.
Oh, yeah. No, he'll get some work release or some ridiculous thing and be out even earlier. The crazy thing is, too, is Tennessee recently passed Truth in Sentencing, which states that any violent crime, and there's a whole list of them, they're to be served 100%. There's no getting out. If you're sentenced to 20 years, you keep your 20 years, whatever it is. In the state of Tennessee, they don't let anybody out early anymore for violent crimes. And here he is getting this treatment after that's even been enacted.
How did that even happen? And how can Rogersville review? And I understand them wanting to stay out of it. I do get it. I do. I'm not there. I get it. I can get it from all the way over here, all the way down I-40 West. I get it. But how can they why even reply? I mean, why even reply and say, well, this sheriff's office has nothing to do with it. He's the sheriff. Wow. Has anybody else around you, local to you or whatever, you know the word on the street, you're there. What are they saying about this? We have a couple of locals in here. I talked to Muscles and Mascara, and she's like, I just can't believe it.
Yeah, that's where a lot of us stand. Some people are just staying out of it, and the ones that aren't, it's like we're just shocked at this point.
Plant Diva says, so Don gets arrested for a violation of parole and gets 1 year. He'll be out in a couple weeks, so he didn't serve the whole year, whatever. Not that we're sympathizing with Don here, just comparing a couple of cases. Lawson's son gets 1 year. Yet his victims have their whole life that they have to deal with this. But he's found God. And he's going to sit there a year. Tamara said, so Brandon didn't even say he did it. Said a jury can find him guilty because of evidence. Well, what does that tell you? There's gotta be evidence. I don't think anyone planted it on you, Brandon. Absolutely nuts. Nana said, we are disgusted and very angry. These girls deserve better from the sheriff. Yes, they do. It probably wouldn't hurt for Lawson to have a sit down with WJHL and maybe explain some things. Nuts. And Pat's asking the question that a lot of us are asking, is this a generational problem? How did Brandon get that kind of sick, if you know what I mean? How did he get that kind of depraved? You know what I'm saying, Trevor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something just in that whole circle. There's just a lot of issues there.
So my understanding is Brandon is married and has a child. I hope nobody's bothering the wife or the child. Leave them alone. I hate that. I just can't stand that. I'm not asking that question. Thus far, besides his boating accident, obviously this has been a secret since 2018. God only knows how long it was going on before 2018. Has he been a productive citizen? Like, is he a working guy? I mean, what kind of a facade did we have going on here?
He worked in a youth group in a church here.
Right on. Probably his hunting ground.
Mm-hmm.
He's a predator. He's a predator. So, but like his day job, how he brings home the bacon. I don't want the name of the company, but I mean, was he gainfully employed?
That I'm not sure of. I knew about the church because where it was relevant in this, and I figured that's where he, unfortunately, made his moves in this portion of the case. But I'm not sure about.
I was hoping that was just a rumor. I was hoping that was just a rumor. All right, here we go.
Developing this afternoon in Hawkins County, Brandon Lawson will spend time in jail for attempted aggravated sexual battery. We've learned today he's the son of the Hawkins County Sheriff, Ronnie Lawson. District Attorney General Dan Armstrong announced Brandon Lawson pleaded guilty last week to 4 counts of attempted aggravated sexual battery. Court documents from Hawkins County say the counts.
Yeah, I paused it 10 seconds in. Dan Armstrong is the district attorney of Hawkins County. Correct? Or has something changed? So how, I'm just trying to figure out the thinking of the Rogersville Review, basically saying the sheriff's department has nothing to do with it because Dan Armstrong, he's giving the statement to WJHL. Dan Armstrong is the DA for Hawkins County. Okay, I got to hear that again. Developing story. That's so ridiculous.
Developing this afternoon in Hawkins County, Brandon Lawson will spend time in jail for attempted aggravated sexual battery. We've learned today he's the son of the Hawkins County Sheriff, Ronnie Lawson. District Attorney General Dan Armstrong announced Brandon Lawson pleaded guilty last week to 4 counts of attempted aggravated sexual battery. Court documents from Hawkins County say the counts spanned 2 years in 2018 and 2020. Lawson was sentenced to 20 years, but will only have to serve 1 year in jail. He's being held at the Granger County Jail. The DA says he will have to register as a sex offender.
Big deal. Big deal about registering. Attempted. I mean, if it has nothing to do with the sheriff's department and it has nothing to do with Hawkins County, which obviously it does, Dan Armstrong would not be giving a statement. How did this investigation, there had to have been a charge. Was he charged? I mean, how was this not on a record anywhere?
I don't even think it was done. Personally, I don't think it was done properly to begin with. I'm not even sure that he was arrested. I'm not sure how the court hearings went. I think it was all done wrongfully. I don't think he went through, because if he went through all of that, there would definitely have been more of a record and people would have known in the last 4 years.
Because it's safe to say here they're covering something up. The victims didn't call last week and say this is what happened. They charged him the same day and he pled guilty the same day. This has been going on for quite a while, so there had to have been a charge. I mean, under regular circumstances, I mean, I know here if somebody is charged with something, whatever it is, you know, we have a certain register and you can see the ongoing court case. You can see they're due back in court, you know, in February, or they pled guilty and they have court costs. They have to pay once a month. Or here's the name their mom bailed them out. You see all that going on if you want to follow it, if it pertains to you, whatever. So, but in this, nobody knew anything. From what I'm understanding, because there's no way in 16 months that somebody wouldn't have dug this up on the sheriff of Hawkins County. Why did they? Well, we know why, but this was covered up, right?
100%.
Let's cover it up. 2018, WJHL, we have a developing story. No, you don't. You have a cover-up, and I would have loved to have been the person on the phone at WJHL talking to the DA going, yo, dude, what? This happened last week? Hold it. The sheriff of Hawkins County pled guilty last week? Wow. Last week. This was from 2018? It's not a developing story. Off the books is what this is. How did this get leaked? Do we know for sure? If it's going to get somebody in trouble, let's not say.
I'm not 100% sure. I just know it broke Monday, and since there was no lead up to it, we were all just like, you know, jaws to the floor.
Because especially when it's concerning a child, this says attempted aggravated SB guilty plea. Now, mind you, what actually happened could be way, way worse, and they watered it down. That could be going on too. People plead guilty to lesser charges. Please keep that in mind. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but usually for someone to plead guilty, when a deal is made, it's for something far worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, far less. The deal is, we'll give you this as opposed to what your nasty ass really did.
Definitely.
Sorry, I said that wrong. So attempted, I have a feeling there was no attempt. I can't prove it, but I have a feeling there was no attempt at all. I have a feeling that's how he got that 1 year. I would think that this would be something that the Attorney General of Tennessee would be very concerned about. I would think. Wow. I agree with Nani. When it comes to children, there should be no deals cut at all. Thank you, Gaelic girl. Ronnie has to go or this case will go cold. I think this case has been cold. That's the reason we keep getting answers like this from TBI. Leslie, While we have no new updates to provide, agents continue to investigate the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance. Anyone with credible information is asked to call 800 TBI Find. So, I mean, at least you're going around Ronnie. I mean, you got that going for you. Hang on, I'm going to listen to this again.
Developing this afternoon in Hawkins County, Brandon Lawson will spend time in jail for attempted aggravated sexual battery. We've learned today he's the son of the Hawkins County Sheriff, Ronnie Lawson. District Attorney General Dan Armstrong announced Brandon Lawson pleaded guilty last week to 4 counts of attempted aggravated sexual battery. Court documents from Hawkins County say the counts spanned 2 years in 2018 and 2020. Lawson was sentenced to 20 years, but
so I'm supposed to believe he took a year off? 2 years. Attempted? I don't think there was any attempt. I think this was a plea down. This is how deals are made. 2018 and 2020. So you're telling me he made no attempt in 2019? BS. You're telling me he didn't do anything wrong in 2021? No attempts in 2021? I don't think so. I lost you for a second, Trevor.
Yeah, I feel like that happens each time now. I drop out once, so I guess that was
It happens.
annual moment.
Why wasn't he arrested on the spot and put in jail? This is a public safety problem. Just the attempt. He needs to be put somewhere where he can't attempt anything with any other children under the age of 13. That's a big problem. I don't care whose son he is. Wow. Uh-oh, lip lock came in. Rhodes said because it would have caused issues with his daddy. Oh, yeah, and all his daddy can do is have somebody take down the Hawkins County Facebook page. Really? That's it? That's how you answer this? Hey, Ronnie, we're not saying that you attempted anything in 2018 or 2020, but somebody, while this was being investigated, they shouldn't have been out after 2018 to attempt again. I'm saying attempt in quotes in 2020. You see, there's so many victims because nothing was done in 2018. By the way, the link is pinned. If anybody wants to come up and talk about this, I'm going to. ICU is putting up some law. The defendant knows or has reason to know that the victim is mentally defective. I don't know anything about the victims, but I know what you're doing. I know what you're posting up. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing with the social media page being taken down. It was even before any of the news broke, because just coincidentally that morning, I was checking some things on their page, trying to look back through some old updates about Summer's case. And I went to go find their page to look, and there was no, this was like 7 or 8 o'clock that morning on Monday. There was no page. And they've had their Facebook page since 2012. And so I asked somebody else to go check if it was still up. And it was gone.
Okay, so you were checking their page before this broke on Monday, this 38-second clip that WJHL put out?
It was Monday morning. I was trying to check some old updates about Summer's case, just looking through their Facebook page, and it wasn't there. So I asked a couple people to go check, and they couldn't find it either. And we were like, looks like they took it down. I assumed they got too many comments about Summer, and they took it down. And then about an hour later, this news broke, and we were like, well, now I see why they did. And then I went to check their website link, and it's a dead link on the county's page. You can't get to it.
So basically, Dan Armstrong had told the Ronster monster, hey, Ron, I found out about your bouncing baby boy. And he didn't want to get flooded with comments. Mama Mia, I see you. Your camera's on. I believe it's you. Come on up. You're the next contestant. What are you thinking?
What I don't understand is Dawn went to jail for a weapons charge and
Just a violation
a
of
DUI, right?
violation of probation.
And this, it's. I mean, I don't understand. What did he just walk in and confess? I don't think so. He was charged with something somewhere, and they're hiding it.
Yeah, these victims or their parents brought this out, but they covered it up. There's no public record that he was charged, he was arraigned, nothing. He's been, from what I'm understanding, he's been walking free this whole time.
Yeah.
And so instead of a jury of his peers letting him say, no, they took it wrong. That's not what happened.
My nephew did 8 years for an accusation.
Whoa.
Of hurting his son. Well, it was found out later his ex-wife did it, the son's mother. It's come out that she did it. She hurt his leg. Okay, so my nephew went to prison for 4 years and did 4 years of parole. So that's basically, parole is like being inside prison without the walls. So he did 8 years. And this guy only has to do a year, and he's touched children that way. It makes no sense to me.
Makes zero sense. He was sentenced to 20, but they said he'll spend a year in there. I don't think he'll spend a year. He should have all 20 in there. I don't believe
exactly.
Attempt. I believe it's a plea down. Also, there's 4 victims that we know of. I don't believe he took 2019 off. I don't believe he took 2021 off. I don't believe it's just 4. Why stop with 4, Brandon? Is that your lucky number?
Well, what about his own child? Was she one of the victims?
God, I hope not. I hope it's none. I hope it's none. But it,
you know, that's what I don't understand. How okay, if Ronnie Lawson were to retire or step down, right? Who would take his place? That's my question.
Who's the deputy sheriff?
I don't know. Would it be the one that's investigating? No, that'd be a detective. I don't know.
I don't know. Who's the deputy sheriff, Trevor? Who would be, let's say, the vice president of Hawkins County, if you know what I mean? Oh, we lost Trevor. I don't know. I don't think he'll step down. I don't think he will.
My husband was talking about buying that property that 209 running for sheriff himself. He said, I'll clean up Hawkins County. But we're not going to do that. But he's like, I'd run for sheriff if I moved there.
Do you know who is directly under Lawson, Trevor?
I
mean, I know it's a small department.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way they run through deputies, it could be someone who just got hired yesterday. We don't know.
Yeah.
Is it true? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I knew back when Summer's case started, because he was on a lot of the, I want to say Cook. I'm trying to think of his name, but there is someone who's been up there for a little bit that's, I think, second to Lawson.
Okay, I got another question. Was listening to Jody Sue's live from last night, and she said something like, the Bernards, her ex's parents were with him the day of the boating accident. Was with Brandon. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was waiting on Trevor to answer you. Now, what did that idiot say?
She said that her ex's parents, the Bernards, the day he had the boating accident where he killed the other boaters because of his alcohol content or whatever under the influence, that her ex's parents was with him that day, the Bernards.
Sure she did. She's yeah. Jody probably sold him the boat too. You see, Jody would love nothing more than to be a part of this.
Right. I think I'll just keep quiet.
Well, no, go ahead. Trust me. I mean, and God be with you. I can't believe you
I
can.
think she is a part of it. I really do. Because I was watching one of the other creators last night. It's a clip channel, I think.
Now, we don't get into other creators here. We just really don't.
Okay. I won't say the name.
Okay.
But I was watching, they do a close up of her face and her eyes and stuff. And when she talks, I can read people, and I can read if they're lying or being deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
When she talks, she's always fiddling with something. She puts her cup in front of her face. I'm not going to tell you how I can tell of deception, because
now, who's this in regards to? Ronnie Lawson?
Yeah.
Oh, Jody's deceptive? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's
yeah.
very deceptive, and she's got telltale signs that she's quite a liar too.
Well, that yeah, I would just have to agree. I would have to agree.
I think because what I don't understand is, why did she insert herself from the very beginning? I feel like it's to lead people in another direction away from them, right?
I think it's for the very reason that's going on right now. And I'm not saying this about you or anybody else that's talking about her, but she's a conversation with everybody in this case. And I think that she inserted herself because she saw how much traction this case was gaining, and now it could be the next huge national case with how long it was going on, and she wanted to insert herself. I'm not sure that she's involved, but I know that she's crazy, and I think that's what it really comes down to with her.
And I think she knows something. I'm sorry, I just do.
Well, she's going to get a lot.
My question is, what does she know? Because everything she blurts out is unfounded or not true. There's many cases where they will, now it's later down the line where they're getting to trial, and they'll say, and a neighbor heard a scream or a closing door, or they heard this or they heard that at, around 4 p.m. or something like that. And they use that as part of a timeline. They've already said Jody Sue and her scream is unfounded. Mind you, that came from Ronnie Lawson, but TBI hasn't put any water in that either.
Also, they say there's a truth in every lie. It starts with the truth.
Well, then
there's truth somewhere, but she's not telling exactly what it is. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, she was probably asleep. The woman is live all night, every night. She was probably asleep when all this was going down. And how can she hear a muffled scream across the road or animal? One of them heard either her or her son, God, I need more caffeine, heard a animalistic scream. And then the other one heard a muffled scream. Now, I don't know what I'm talking about?
Right. So another question.
Mm-hmm.
How close was that family to the Lawsons and that Brandon? Okay. Meaning, how old is Brandon? Do we know?
Late 30s, early 40s. I've heard 38. I've heard 43. So let's just put it in there.
Okay, Jody Sue's 37. I mean, were they friends? Was her ex friends with him? I mean, it's a small community, I guess. How close was that family to him?
Mm-hmm.
And, people in a small, closed community like that try to stick together, right?
Well, I mean, sometimes, I'm from a small town, and when you're talking about a child's disappearance, Katie bar the door. There's no friends until you figure out what happened to that child. Now we have an issue where there's 4, and I'm saying this in quotes, attempt on another child and nobody knew.
Right.
That's what
Also,
really shocks me,
but
that none of the parents were screaming from the rooftops. This guy's still out walking around and he, in quotes, attempted something with my under 13 child.
right. Every RSO in that county, though, Jody Sue will cover up for them.
Mhm.
She defends them. She's friends with them. Most of her friends are RSOs. So, in lies that. So, I don't, I'm not saying that her ex would have, because he has plainly stated they don't put up with that, right? There's crossing the line with that. But Jody Sue is friends with a lot of RSOs. She really is. I've heard it through YouTube, Grapevine, other creators, and seen it with my own eyes how she protects them.
Right. But she
So,
can't protect anybody. All she can do is sit there and drink out of her cup with her glittery nails.
well, not protect them, but defends them.
Oh,
Shuts you
no,
down.
I'm on the
She,
same page as you. I'm not being argumentative. I totally,
right.
and I
She
mean,
shuts people down that try to find out more information about why that county don't do more to people like that. You know what I mean?
she's nuts. And you know what? Every case has a Jody Sue, and I can never figure out their real motivation. I mean, do they think they're
Right.
going to write a book someday? What are they really thinking? But I've never seen one. Well, Sammy Smith would be the other that fights so damn hard to look guilty and be a damn suspect. It's like you
Right.
were told they don't want to hear from you. You have nothing to do with this, but you press on harder. I've never seen anything like it. She's so irrelevant and she wants to be. I can't listen to her because, well, I can't get that mush mouth thing she's got going on.
Right. Some
So-
things I don't understand, but a lot of things I understand what she's saying. And she tries to muffle what she's saying, hoping that no one will hear it. But I can't sit and explain like how many things that she has said that probably no one else caught because of her muffling.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that would be the creator that they say is I can't say her name. Lingua and Jody Sue, I guess. She can understand her.
I really honestly wish I would have never mentioned her name on here because she has, and I don't care that you are, I'm not saying anything about you. She is just such a waste of oxygen and space.
Yeah.
She just wants, and I gave her a fair shake when all of that came out back in August of 2021, when she comes out of the shadows with her protective order, talking about coleslaw and Baltimore and all that crap. And I'm like, whoa, what is she saying? Talking about
Right.
Scream. She's explaining the properties, who's who. Now, I did think that was important at the time. Now I'm like, I could have figured that shit out myself.
We need to look up 117 because where I was watching her last night, she said that 117. She didn't say what it was, but she's.
I'm
like
going to go ahead and you know what? I don't mean to break your heart or anything. If you want to investigate whatever Jody said, it's going to be time of your life you're never going to get back, because I'm telling you, that lady is, she wants to get people off the proper trail so bad. If she's the all-knowing of that road and that county and everyone involved, including the damn sheriff's son, then why on earth did she never, in the 14 months she's been running that yap, say anything about Brandon Lawson?
right. And I don't understand too why Don and Candace got on YouTube too, and like I feel like everybody tried to push everybody that was paying attention away from it
Mhm.
by doing their things, and just some of the things they did was just outlandish, like hoping people might forget. I don't know.
No
I
one's
don't
gonna
know.
forget. Hang
It's
on.
odd.
Lip lock. Beautiful. I see you. You can turn your camera off. And Terry M. Well, you made this about JSB in all caps. No, I didn't. I'm the one that said I can't understand her. I don't watch her. I think she's a liar and I think she's irrelevant. How in the hell, this channel of all channels, can you say I made anything about her? I hope you're not talking about me. I mean, if you are, you are. That's your opinion, but nope. Well, what a treat we have here. How are you, beautiful?
Hello, beautiful. Back to you. I'm doing really well on this chilly Arkansas morning.
What
How's
is the temperature there?
Well, I haven't actually checked it, but there's frost on the pumpkin.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. And still watermelons for sale at the grocery store. What do you know?
Probably from another state.
Yeah. You go to the grocery store and they got a pallet of watermelons and next to it a pallet of pumpkins. All right.
Yeah. Listen, thank you for letting me up on your panel. And all this time, it's the first time I've grabbed the link.
Any time, my friend. So now what? I know you've got plenty to say. Trevor was telling me about this on Monday. I didn't get my notification from WJHL. Somebody, I'm signed up too. I signed up. That's how YouTube works. If it's, So I know you've got plenty to say. I can just imagine the look on your face when you heard about Ronnie Lawson, because you've been on him like white on rice for 16 months about his son.
Yeah, well, actually about a little over 12 months because I didn't start doing what I do. I don't know how much you want, because I am another channel holder, and I'm not here to promote my channel at all.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're getting promoted anyway. You're also my friend, and you were one of my first wrenches. Remember that?
I know. And you and another YouTube creator inspired me to start my own channel. So your viewers and subs can blame you that I have a channel.
So when you all get mad at Lip Lock, you're actually mad at me.
You're actually mad at Brooks because it's her fault. Brooks is one of 3 YouTube creators worldwide who actually has my phone number. I have hers, and we speak in real time, in real life on the phone, don't we, baby?
We do. One of these days, we're going to meet up at one of your beautiful lakes in Arkansas. But in the meantime,
it's
cold and there's frost on the pumpkins. And what the hell? How did they covered this up, my friend?
Well, baby, I saw your title. Of course, I got the notification, and I literally was like cleaning the refrigerator. So I turned you on my phone so I could listen to conversation with Trevor and your other guests. By the way, I love when you have Trevor on.
Me too. He's wonderful. Say hi, Trevor. Don't be shy. Lip Lock's not as mean as everyone says.
How are you?
Hello, Trevor. Thank you for every single thing you have done for Summer Moon Utah Wells.
Absolutely. Justice for Summer. It's going to come. We'll get it.
I know, babe. I know. So anyway, I was listening to you, and of course I couldn't see your chat because I'm cleaning the fridge. And I checked your title, and I was like, maybe I'll hurry up with the refrigerator and get over to the desktop so I can grab that link. As I put in your chat, Brooks, I am so infuriated over this entire situation with Brandon Lawson, the son of Sheriff Ronnie Lawson of Hawkins County, Tennessee, USA. I went off. My channel is an opinion commentary channel. And I mean, I flat went off yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, because I have a confidential source in Kingsport who regularly, especially if something's going on, sends me a text and with attachments. So that person was sending me his records, you know, the process of how this all went down in 3 hours on one morning on October the 13th of 2022.
Now, what's the date again? I'm writing this down.
Okay, but on October 13th, 2022.
Oh, last Thursday. Hell. Okay.
Okay. Now, as a sidebar on that one, Hawkins County, Tennessee does not hold criminal circuit court on Thursday unless it is done by special request. So we have a special request for Mr. Lawson, for Brandon Lawson's Alford plea to be submitted to a judge named Carter Moore, who was a specially appointed judge.
Mm-hmm.
And let me look real quick here. I have them pulled up already so that I could actually, give you guys the times, Brooks, and I'll be happy as well to send these to you in text.
Sure can.
Okay, and I'll do that when after I drop down here.
Okay, 1 second while you're doing that. Dixie, he's sentenced to 20, Mr. Brandon is, but he will only serve 1 year. From what I'm understanding, he didn't step foot into the jail until yesterday.
Well, he was actually booked on the 13th.
Okay, see, that's why we know what we're told, and we know, then we get to the truth.
Yeah, and here again, honey, I'll jack my jaws here with you for just a few minutes because I'm not good with technology. I'll do better if I just kindly speak my mind and talk with you a minute, and then
don't worry about. You can send the text whenever you want. It doesn't have to
and
be.
And what I'm saying is, honey, then that way you'll have the official receipts that we can substantiate anything I'm saying here. Okay, that I'm literally looking at official Tennessee. You know, this is the real deal here. I'm Brandon Lawson. Okay. He was, got to get it big enough that I can see it because I'm an old lady.
Oh, hush.
Oh, hush. By the way, he's now in the Granger County detention facility. He was transferred there all in the same day. Okay. On August 13th, 2022, at 9:53 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Oh, no, that's when he was transferred. Dang nabbit. I've got too many records here, honey.
You're okay.
And I don't want to hold up what you've got going on here because each one, it wasn't sent all as one attached. They're individual attachments. So I'm having to pull each one up individually.
Well, let's get to this.
Yeah, let's skip. Yeah.
What the hell do you think? Because this was covered up. Now, I can't say that we are policed by or governed by perfect people where I live in Northeast Oklahoma. I'm sure you can say there's some shitheads around you too.
Oh, yeah.
But I would be furious if we had a predator walking amongst us that was known to law enforcement. If they don't know, they don't know. But that's known to them and that it's covered up. So WJHL, big fail, epic fail on their part. 38 seconds, 2018 and 2020. Well, you're attempted, which means he pled down, my friend. You and I both know that means he pled down.
Absolutely.
It's much, much worse.
Absolutely.
So he pled down. So 2019, nothing happened. 2020, nothing happened. Took a year off from his attempted BS.
Yeah, right.
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, you know, we've got his, as you're pointing out, his first offense is that we know of. That's in this little bundle of the Alford plea, ALFORD.
Mm-hmm. Pam helped
through information, he entered an Alford plea. And what that means is is that as far as he and his attorney, Mark Stapleton, were concerned, and he's another piece of work as far as I am concerned, okay, what an Alfred plea is you know, as the defendant and as the defendant's attorney, that there is enough evidence to convict you of what you have been accused by a jury or a judge beyond a reasonable doubt. Therefore, since you know your ass is, I'm sorry.
You're good.
You know your hind end is going to go to the big house anyway. When you enter an Alfred plea, you are not pleading guilty or not guilty. You're saying, I know that if I go to trial, I'm screwed. So we get somebody behind the scenes here with a special date for court, a special judge, a high-powered attorney offering up 4 charges of attempted sexual battery, which is, I'm getting conflicting stuff from the Tennessee Annotated Code. One says it's a Class B, one says it's a Class C, both felonies.
Mhm.
In 3 hours, Brooks, the court comes into session at 9:53 a.m. By 12:04, everything has been done, and he is already transferred into the custody of the Granger County Detention Facility in 3 hours.
Okay. Wow.
That causes me concern. Because to me, and I want to make it clear, this is my opinion only. This is not Brooke or Trevor or Hermad's or her chat's opinion. This is my opinion. To me, this is obvious corruption, malfeasance of office, and dereliction of duty on an almost industrial level in a number of different governmental agencies in Hawkins County, Tennessee, where nepotism, favoritism, and entitlement seem to be the menu du jour.
We're clapping. Were you clapping,
Amen.
Trevor? Yes.
I was, yeah. I don't know if y'all
Now-
can hear it, but I was.
In 2018, okay, Brandon Lawson is now 43. I don't have the actual, and I don't dox or anything, but talking about public record. I don't have the actual date, but he was born August of 1979.
Okay.
Okay, he's 43 now. His first offense that we know of in 2018, he would have been 39. Are we to believe that a pedophile lived for 39 freaking years and never took action on his urges?
Nope.
Thank you.
Nope. But somebody spoke out in 2018, but you have a risk to public safety.
Yes, ma'am.
To public safety. I also want to know if Tennessee Child Protective Services knew about this.
Yes.
I'd like to know that.
DCS was involved.
And at their highest level, why they did not put pressure on that county to make sure he is detained. So while they are waiting to sentence him, he cannot be around other children to harm them, because he 2018, then 2020. I don't believe that he took a year off. I don't believe he took 2021 off. I don't believe 2018 was the first time. What I believe doesn't matter. I would bet my life on the attempted was thrown in so it doesn't sound so damn bad. This was
You know it.
plea down. This was a plea down.
Absolutely. I made the remark. I've made the remark twice that I can recall. There is no one on God's green earth that can convince me that this is not also a plea bargain and a reduction of charges. Brooks, have you read Stapleton's statement to the Rogersville Review?
It's pretty jaw-dropping.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. His remarks in regards to Brandon Lewis Lawson alone. Excuse me. Okay. Stapleton says that Brandon has been fighting demons for the majority of his life.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
had to stop right there and come back to it. Has anything ever just made you so damn mad that you have to stop, put it away, and come back to it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This was one of my moments.
Yeah. Then he says that he sought out the Lord and adopted it. Now I'm paraphrasing now because I'm not looking at the article, but that but a quote is, Brandon lost his footing for a few years. He lost his footing? Excuse me. We know from the Department of Justice of the United States of America, who has studied these things, that pedophilia is a learned behavior. Who did you learn it from, Brandon? This is a substantiated government study conducted by and posted on the website of the United States Department of Justice. This is learned behavior. And he cannot, the recidivism rate is almost, Brooks, 100%. These people cannot be cured. And this guy is out walking the streets from 2018 to 2022.
And these poor victims, imagine being these young girls. You get your one birthday is going to pass, and the man that did this is going to be out of jail in that time.
Yes, Trevor. And Trevor, thank you for bringing that out and reminding me that the other thing about what Stapleton, the defense attorney, his remarks in regards to the victims, where he hopes everybody involved can put this behind them and move ahead. Well, we also have victim impact statements, don't we?
Yep.
And I can tell you right now that the two victims who gave us victim impact statements cannot move on. One has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, PTSD. And I am a 70-year-old lady, a survivor of CSA in the late 1950s and early 1960s. And 62 years later, to this day, I still have nightmares involving my abuser. These victims will never get over this. Their lives have been altered forever. I'm not saying, and I know from my own personal experience, they'll never get over it, but they can learn to live with it. But when I read victim impact statements, wherein a young lady tells us of her loss of friends and companions and people who she has loved because she told the truth.
So they have a life sentence, and he'll be back to being a predator in a year.
In a year. And by the way, according to state records, his probation has already been arranged with the Johnson City Parole and Probation Office. And the beginning status date is October the 14th of 2022. It also says status pending. What does that mean? And so this guy's going to have 19 years of supervised probation? Like the other RSOs spread across and throughout Hawkins County, Tennessee? And I still want to know, and likely will never know, who did Brandon learn this behavior from? And right smack dab in the middle of it, Ronnie Lawson is accompanying his son out of state for DNA testing to keep it under wraps in the state of Tennessee, where it would have to be reported. Whose DNA are they comparing it to? Now, I'm not talking victims. I don't talk, I don't want any, I don't want to speculate on who the victims are and whatnot, personally, myself. I'm not throwing shade on anybody that does. Myself, I don't.
No, I don't want their names brought up. I don't want to know where they
Exactly.
live. They know anything. Nothing.
Okay. But when you go have a DNA swab, you're comparing that DNA to other DNA to establish something. So do we have a victim who had an article of clothing or perhaps linens or anything that had bodily fluids on it to whom his DNA would compare? Or other reasons that I'm not going to go into. But you have your DNA swab because it's being compared to something. And his daddy, Ronnie Lawson, took him the F out of the state of Tennessee to have it done. And in the middle of all of Ronnie and whoever else in the 3rd Judicial District of Tennessee had their eyes focused on fixing this for Brandon, how much time did that take away from the investigation in the case of the disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells?
Tons. He's been preoccupied. And it's
Exactly.
Actually, Summer, I have a feeling he did have some heat on him, but Summer took precedence. So with the disappearance of Summer Wells, nobody was paying attention to what he was covering up for his son.
Yes, ma'am.
You see where I'm going?
Yes, ma'am. And I'm not trying to implicate or say necessarily that one has to do with the other, as in the criminality of anything. I'm saying that didn't it turn into something where our focus could be directed on something so intense as Summer's disappearance that we don't even freaking know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know someone who was made aware of this in April with Brandon. They knew about it in April, okay? But I didn't know about it until October the 13th of 2022. So maybe I didn't mean to come up here and commandeer your channel, your
Absolutely. No, you did nothing wrong. The link is pinned. I want to hear from everybody on this. I think it's odd that on Twitter, Leslie with TBI, who's, she really doesn't say too much unless she just has to. So this is not really a has to situation. This was not a has to situation.
I've got a real strong feeling Leslie Earhart does not like Ronnie Lawson.
Her mannerisms do not show that she does. And now, when she says this is a case outside of the norm, but he wants, we've been working step in step, side by side with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Why was the TBI doing RSO checks in Hawkins County at the end of September, 2 weeks before this went down with Brandon?
Good question.
Why? Why was it put on Twitter? Why was this a public announcement? We're here making sure that the RSOs are on the up and up in Hawkins County. Why was that done at the end of September?
Very interesting timing, isn't it?
He's not on the list. Why? Why do they have the U.S. Marshals tagged in this? They don't on their other tweets about these things. Why there? Why Hawkins County?
Very interesting. It's very interesting. And, on many of these matters, and of course, you know me, I have a million questions, but I'm not going to bring them up here now. I'll come and bother you again on another day.
You might be on the phone all afternoon, girl. I might.
But I'll, I do have a million questions, and I just hope that you, along with Trevor and others, will continue to peel off the layers of this stinking, rotten onion that is known as Hawkins County, Tennessee, not the good citizens.
No, leave
Before I
them.
drop down, let me please say this. I am fully aware and I am very supportive of the majority of the good people. There are good people in Hawkins County, y'all. Good, strong people who this has cast a shadow over them. They live there. And so I hold the individuals within each government agency who have chosen to become involved in these nefarious matters responsible, not the people of Hawkins County.
Mhm.
So I wanted to make that clear. All right, baby, I'm going to drop down. Thank you so much for having me up. Thank you, chat, and to your mods. And yeah, we'll talk on the phone pretty soon, and I'll text you those documents from Tennessee.
Perfect. Big round of applause for our friend Liplock No More. Well, I mean, and it goes without saying that summer has touched everyone's hearts to the point that we would even have a say in what the sheriff of Hawkins County does. A lot of people didn't even know Hawkins County existed until Summer Wells disappeared. That is her reach, and that is the grab that she has had on us. I think we can all agree. I'm going to play, if it's okay with you, Trevor. And Trevor, I want you to be very, very careful. And if you need anything, reach out to me or anyone else, because you're really you're very outspoken, and that's a good thing. And I just don't want anything to happen to you, my friend.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. And it's all about, I always try to keep it just straight about Summer. So anything that I say or go out and do, it's not after anybody unless it has to do with her.
So let's see. And you do phenomenal work. I'm very proud to know you. Lisa said, do we think he may have had something to do with Summer? Is that even an option here? Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I do wonder where he was June 15th. I don't think
Definitely.
This puts Candace off the hook at all. At
And I
all.
think,
If you have a predator on the loose, they said that they shook up all the RSOs, but they had a predator on the loose. We know because he has to serve a year, which is a joke. Has anybody asked? I mean, I'm just wondering. It's just a question. I'm not accusing. It's a question.
I definitely think the bigger thing is too, even if he's not involved directly in what happened on June 15th or prior with Summer Wells, there's a huge impact that this has regardless. Because if Lawson and his department are hiding something this big, then when federal and state resources come in, TBI, FBI, to assist in this case, there are things that he'll hide from them because he doesn't want them getting too close to his truths. And in doing that, he will prevent them from seeing things that could help them in the Summer Wells case, even if it doesn't have to do with his son. You let them see X, Y, and Z files, and they pick up on something in the third file, and they find out what you're hiding from your son or about your son. So this does affect the case, and the fact that he could be keeping information or keeping investigators from certain things to protect himself.
Interesting and very, very true. This is insane. Cindy said, and Let's Go Brandon was involved in church groups. That doesn't shock me at all. It gives a whole new phrase to Let's Go Brandon. Whole new meaning.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to replay, which we do often here, the clip from Pruitt where he talks about legal troubles. And of course, he said this case bled over into the CPS case, which I have said since March makes no sense. They are totally separate departments. You don't need to wait on CPS to move forward with the case of Summer Wells. I have been argued with about that so many times to the point I quit bringing it up. It's a moot point. CPS is not holding back your investigation as to what happened to Summer Wells. Not. I want to know. Are they keeping those boys quiet? Now I want to know. They're old enough to talk. They're old enough to speak a sentence. They're old enough to say this is what happened that day. Let's listen to what he has to say, because he also knew a lot of what was going on with the sheriff's son.
And dives deeper into the disappearance of Hawkins County 6-year-old Summer Wells. And for the first time, we're hearing from the lead investigator at the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office in charge of the case. Tonight, he tells us what the Wells family relationship with law enforcement looks like now, as Summer's father remains in jail and lawyers are involved.
In February, Sheriff Ronnie Lawson told News Channel 11 that the Wells family had lawyers and were no longer cooperating. The lead investigator for the case explained how that, as well as how her father's current stint in jail on unrelated charges, hasn't moved this case forward.
The family has attorneys involved, and that is not a direct line of communication.
That tone is quite the change from what it was last year when Summer was first reported missing.
It was pretty good. We would show up about every day, make sure that they were okay, and had a decent line of communication with them.
About a month later, in July, Child Protective Services removed her 3 older brothers from their home and appointed attorneys to the case.
They have been appointed for other instances, but it bleeds over into this investigation as well.
Summer Wells' father, Don, was arrested late last year.
Appointed for other instances, but it bleeds over into this investigation as well.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. You can have the investigation with Child Protective Services, which, what investigation? The boys were removed in July of 2021. We're well over a year from their removal from Ben Hill Road. What is the holdup? By now, and they were not returned. They did not go back in 6 months, did they not? See, July. In January of 2022, of course, Don was already in other problems with the violation of probation. He was getting ready to go to jail. Even Don knew it. Even Don knew he was going to be going to jail. What an excuse. What a line. What a line.
Well,
Summer Wells' father, Don, was arrested late last year for driving under the influence and violating probation.
Going off of that, obviously we know that Don Wells is incarcerated here. Does that play a role at all in this investigation?
no, ma'am.
On February 7th, a judge ordered him to serve the remainder of his 11 months and 29-day sentence in the Hawkins County Jail.
With Mr. Wells, he knows when he first came into the institution, he knows at any time he wants to talk to let their staff know, and I'll get to him as quick as I can.
But Pruitt,
As quick as I can, as in never. Because for one, Don isn't going to say anything. Don may have truly been at work all day. Not saying Don is a great guy and he is innocent in all of this. We have never heard that Don was at the house. I wouldn't doubt it, especially since he slipped when he was talking to Brian Enton and he said we weren't paying attention. But he makes it sound that easy. Whenever he wants to talk to me, I'll get to him as soon as I can. Do you hear that, Trevor?
Yeah.
When he first came into the institution, he knows at any time he wants to talk to let their staff know, and I'll get to him as quick as I can.
But Pruitt hopes the Wells family knows that despite the other legal troubles, they can reach out anytime.
Communication between me and the family have changed. but I hope that they still understand that they can come talk to me at any time they want to.
Come talk to me, Pruitt. Let's do a poll real quick in the chat because things change all the time. We look at things, time has elapsed. Do you think Dawn was at work when Summer Wells disappeared and truly was in the dark and just believes Candace? Or let's just make it simple. Do you think Dawn was at work the afternoon of June 15th, 2021? You don't have to answer, Trevor, but you are welcome to. A lot of people say no. Some people say yes. This bothers me on so many levels. For one, the whole thing with Brandon is a separate case. The fact that he was allowed freedom with these accusations. I'm wondering when the 4 victims, their parents, came forward with this information. I don't believe anybody reported it in 2018 and then in 2020. I'm just wondering, did this come out sometime in, say, 2021? Earlier this year? Do you happen to know?
I do not.
Did Muscles and Mascara just make it in? Yes, she did. Jules says she thinks he just showed his face and left. Oh, I'm sure. And with this, I'm not saying that there is any connection between Brandon and Summer's disappearance. There is definitely a connection with the half-ass job that has been done solving the case of, and I don't mean physically finding Summer. Putting together a case. Here we are in October of 2022, 16 months in and counting. I know Court K, she got a good answer. I say a good answer from Leslie at TBI, who said, we have not ruled out foul play. Well, so you're still trying to figure out if Summer wandered off that day, even though her parents were screaming abduction? We know she wasn't abducted. The FBI card unit said no. So what is it? Seems that Ronnie was very preoccupied with something else. That is for sure. For sure. Ronnie's been the sheriff there forever and a day, right, Trevor?
Yeah, he's been there for quite a while.
So there could be some people, he could run for sheriff again. Let's say it's coming up. I know he was reelected in May. He could go and say let's just say that, let's pretend. Say it's, part of midterms and he's on the ballot right now. There's some people that might be like, look, because Ronnie Lawson has a bad egg in his family does not mean he's not an effective sheriff. Do you get that drift, or do you think most people are like, time's up, buddy?
I get some of both. I feel like there's some that just will back him or don't want to, even if they don't want to say they don't, because that does cost her, and especially in a small community like this. So I think there are more people that there's kind of that silent group that won't say much, but I don't think that people are very happy with this, but they're kind of on the fence about saying anything about it.
Well, they got to live there too. When you shake the apple cart, you don't want them all falling on you. Jennifer said, so where did Brandon learn this behavior? Who else needs to be looked into? Exactly. Innocent until proven guilty said Jody Sue had a visitor that day. Who the hell woke Jody Sue up that day? I mean, that's a crime in itself. She needs her beauty rest, right? Wow. Summer Thunder said no abduction, just corruption. We know that because this was kept quiet. It's insane, my friend. It's insane. Well, Trevor, I'm going to start winding this down. I've kept everybody almost 2 hours, and I know you've got a busy schedule and a lot of things going on. I appreciate you coming on panel and telling us what's going on there, because I'm far away.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me. I'd come on anytime. I messaged you. We've started a petition as well to have this investigated from a higher power, and I sent you that if you wanted to look at that.
I'm going to put it in the chat right now. If anybody wants to grab it, I did see that in private chat. There it is. I have not read this myself, everybody, but you all have your own minds, your own computers. Al Gore's internet is a big place, so you can make your mind up about the petition. I do trust my friend Trevor 100%, so I don't think there's going to be anything there that's going to stir you wrong. Trevor, I want you to be super careful, but yet let's keep up the fight for Summer Wells, my friend.
Absolutely, and always.
All right, I'll talk to you right after the show, and if it's okay with I'll talk to Lip Lock too.
All right.
All right, thank you very much. Let's give
Thank
Trevor
you.
huge round of applause. He has been working so hard, as has a ton of people. Want to think that I noticed we got 2 new members today. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Plant Diva, putting together a members live right now. Also, we're all on high alert about little Quentin in Georgia. That is a heartbreaking case as well. It's obviously moving at a much faster pace than Summer Wells, but we're never going to give up on Summer Wells around here. No way, no how. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So thank you very much, mods. You guys are always 100% on point. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning. Anything breaks, I'll jump in and we will do a live. But in the meantime, you guys enjoy your very chilly, unseasonably chilly, cold October day. See you guys back here later. You are the absolute best chat and community on YouTube. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.